just disappear.
Hello, all you Rexium and Winter Paws reskins. Welcome to a show that introduces you to an exploratory expedition into the fuzzy-wuzzy world of the furry fandom for what it's worth. Strap on your index and body trackers as we are about to enter the internet like it's the 90s. Only it's a lot better! From travel vlogs and chat rooms to now traveling virtually and chat rooms. That's right, we are getting into the world of virtual reality, from exploring worlds like walking through Luigi's mansion in first person, to making friends with complete strangers on the other ends of the world, or worlds, depending on where you are at. Stu struggling to pick the right avatar like a bottom picking an outfit for brunch. So make sure your controllers are charged and updated. Grab some water and a towel or two, and move that furniture out of the way to really give yourself that immersive macro experience that's not the expense of your IKEA furniture. We are also joined today by two guest star appearances, Boots and Reyess. Rue, take it away.
Hello, everybody. It is so good to see each and every one of you today. We have a wonderful, wonderful episode all lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about VR. Ooh, the scariness of all of it. But before we get to any of that, let's check in with the cast and see how they're doing. Charlie.
No, me first.
How are you doing? I know you just did that great big huge talk, but how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am enjoying life, breathing air. Somehow I know I'm going to get there and feel so wonderful. 2 points in chat if anyone can guess the song I just referenced. So far, just living life, just having a good time. Excited for later today. I'll be seeing one of my favorite comedy plays, Noises Off. To explain it shortly, it's a 3-act play where you watch from the front of the stage, them trying to rehearse the show, then the whole stage turns around, and you watch it from behind the scenes as the show starts to get sabotaged by their own inner actors getting frustrated at each other. Then the third act, it turns right back around to the front and everything falls apart, and it's the funniest thing ever. If you haven't seen it, I recommend the movie version to get a little taste, but then go see it live. It's always better live. What about you, Klik?
Me?
Yeah, you old man. What you doing?
Not a damn.
Not a damn thing. Is he reading? You reading the paper at least?
Paper? Nobody gets those anymore. Yeah, not much going on. We kind of had a breakthrough. Boss finally found a Chinese place that I said was good and would go back to.
What?
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 That's
What is
nice
this?
treat.
It took some effort, let me tell you.
Dude,
Something else that you're adding to your diet besides bread and mashed potatoes and meat and your own yummy spaghetti. Oh my gosh, makes the best homemade spaghetti. It's so good.
Spaghetti.
yeah. Took some doing, but he finally found one.
Well, what does he like? Or what do you like there?
I don't know. It was Chinese food. What the hell was it, boss?
The restaurant itself was called Din Tai Fung, and it was bao and dumplings.
Oh, yeah.
We love bao. Those are good.
Well, because the spicy chicken was the dumplings, and then yours was the bao, huh?
Mine was steamed bao.
Yeah.
So
good.
My favorite would have to be I love the kung pao, like the kung pao chicken. That's usually where I like to get it. Or you can't go wrong with Panda Express's orange chicken, but for some reason, I don't know why, but they've changed the recipe or something. It doesn't taste as good anymore. Maybe I'm just getting old taste buds. Maybe that's what it is.
Well, that's the thing. I don't like Panda or anything because all the sauces are too sweet.
Sugar sauce.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we went to California and found a restaurant I actually like.
Wait, in California, so I can't try it?
Not
You
yet.
can if you go to California.
We just gotta
So-
get out of Utah.
So
Yeah.
what were you doing in California?
We went to Disneyland for a week.
Nice.
That's so cool. Did you guys have fun? Did you go on Charlie's favorite ride?
Did you get to see the new, original bride?
Once or 15 times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that lady. I'm so glad she's back to her original state.
Yeah, and we got a weighted blanket from there, so it's the
Oh.
wallpaper of the haunted
Yeah.
mansion, and it's a weighted blanket.
Oh, yeah. Now I can really feel like a
it's-
crypt keeper.
It's a 14-pound blanket.
So,
It's
can I
so
ask you guys,
good.
when
I
you get
love it.
into bed and you like pull the covers over, do you like, start quoting certain things, or like the music starts going where it goes dun 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 dun?
Man, I wish I'd be asleep so fast.
I've had like the Disney remix stuck in my head for like weeks.
Oh my
Yeah. Yeah, for the fireworks show they have on the weekends, they do a remix of some of the songs from around the park, and that's one of them. It's pretty banger.
Well, Voss, what have you been up to? I'm
Literally
guessing
the
you
same
went
thing.
to Disney as well, right?
Yes.
That'd be pretty
How
funny
was-
if he didn't
How
actually
was your
go.
Disney experience? Oh yeah, that would have been hilarious. You were at
Put
home
by myself. Fuck
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Yeah. it was really good. Tons of good food, lots of rides. Just kind of hung out.
That's good.
Was real
Stress
fun.
free. Nothing too crazy.
Nope, I didn't have to worry about a dog at home running away from parents' house like he does every time I went on vacation.
Oh, but it's sad though. His
It
dog
is.
passed away. So
It is, but that was definitely a major headache that stressed me every vacation because I was always like, okay, let me just stare at my phone because I know a phone call is coming saying, hey, I found your dog.
uh,
Yeah.
It was the first time I never had to pay attention to my phone.
well, what I've been up to, well, besides eating cookies, that's usually my favorite pastime. I have been hanging out in this good old land, VRChat. Been hanging out, watching movies. The other day, I watched, oh my gosh, what is it called? It's the movie. It's a horror movie that is this guy that ends up like there's these Mormon missionaries that come and knock on their door. Oh, Heretic.
Friday the 13th?
That's what it was.
Oh.
I watched Heretic, and that was kind of a crazy movie because I was a missionary at one point in time, and I pointed out a few things. I think the people that were in my instance were kind of like, "Shut up, Rue! Like, stop it! You're talking through the movie." But I'm like in the middle of it, and I'm like, "That's not what a missionary would do. They are not following the mission rules." They would not be in that situation if they were obedient, and because they weren't obedient, that's why they're all stuck in this basement.
So the real
Anyways,
horror movie was Rue. Got it.
So I watched that movie, and I also watched another horror movie, which I also recommend. It is, but I can't remember the name of it because I wasn't the one that turned it on. So it's about
It wasn't me, so it's forgettable.
but it's an AI one. It's basically about this family that decides to get this house AI unit,
Smart house?
and
From Disney Channel?
like a smart house type thing. And do you know the name of it, Boots?
Sounds like Smart House, yeah. So, like, I mean, I know The Simpsons kind of parodied it and stuff like that in the past, but
It
yeah.
was kind of like Smart House, but anyways, they had like the AI, of course, took control of their life and stuff like that. And it was interesting because of the topics that we hear nowadays about AI and the dangers of AI. And it really kind of, kind of leaned on those particular fears. So I recommend it. I wish I could tell you the name of it, but there you go. That's what I've been up to. I'm feeling kind of hungry. You guys hungry? I'm hungry.
Hungry for cookie? Question mark.
Yes. How did you know that that's what I was going for?
Ah, nailed it. Nailed it. It's my first day, and I'm already doing so good.
All right. So the fortune that we have for today is an optimist is always able to see the brighter side of the people's troubles. In bed with a cookie. There you go.
We need more
All right.
cookies.
So we have been joined by some lovely guests. Let's introduce them. We have Reyess. Reyess, will you please tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you? What are you? What is your species? What is your social security number? You know, all the things that we have wanted to know about who you are.
Oh, well, I won't give you my social security number.
It's one.
All right. So, what is
it's
the
not.
name of your first pet?
And the
What
street
is
you
your-
grew up on.
And your mother's maiden name?
Not sure about this show.
It's not working. Not sure about this show. Is that really her last name?
Maybe. But no, my name's Reyess. I am a maple fox. That is a fox, but I'm like colored maple and stuff because I'm obsessed with breakfast foods and stuff like that.
Breakfast is S tier
And
meal. S tier.
It is. It's my favorite meal. And I am Boots' significant other where we live together in Utah. And yeah, that's about it. Here to talk about VR stuff.
Boots, tell us. Boots by the fur. Tell
Yes.
The
us.
fur?
Yeah. All.
It's
Tell
actually
us
birthmark,
about
yeah.
yourself. Who are you? What are you? Yeah. Social
Yeah.
security number. Just kidding.
2. My social security number is 2. No. My name's Boots. I'm a fox. Very original, obviously. But all the best ones usually are foxes. So I live in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, as well. With this one,
Salt Lake City.
yes, it makes it sound more fancy. So, but no, that's about me. So yeah, so.
Well, cool. Thank you, both of you, for joining us. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, we'll have an amazing discussion today about VR. So, but before we get into any of that, I heard just, I've kind of known the two of you for a bit, but specifically with Boots and Charlie. I've heard that, you guys are really good at dad jokes.
No. That's
Mhm.
not true.
But I think I want to know who here, before we get to the subject at hand, who here is the better dad joker?
The dad joke.
Oh no.
I don't know. I'm really good at joking off. I'm just saying. So. just saying.
Whoa! Keep it in the pants, Dad.
Mhm.
So Boots, Charlie, give us your best dad joke before we move on with the topic.
I only get my best dad jokes at Best Buy because it's in the name.
Oh. Okay, Charlie. Ready? What do
Ready?
you call a spider with 10 eyes?
An insurance struggler.
Close. A spider. Ooh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was a 10.
That's close enough. So.
Let's see. If we're going those kind of single line jokes, I have to think of. Gosh, it's been so long. I usually react to things.
No
That's
worries.
why I'm pretty fine for a Fine Brothers React channel. Now dead, R.I.P. Legends. Also not legends. Also embarrassments. Also sad.
I don't
So
know.
sad.
Charlie, if you want, I've got, since we're just meeting, I've got 3 jokes. Usually I tell people that we just meet. So,
Ooh,
yes, are you ready?
Go for it.
icebreakers.
Shoot
I'll be
These
those
your
are-
polar
three.
bear. Give me a
Yes.
Coke.
These could be themed. So, what do you get when you cross the Atlantic with the Titanic?
Titanic.
No, 2/3 the way there. So, what does the movie The Sixth Sense and the Titanic have in common?
Both feature white people.
See dead people.
Oh,
Why should you never tell 3 Titanic jokes to somebody you just met?
Something iceberg, the ice cream shop.
No, obviously they make terrible icebreakers. So,
Ah.
Those are good. See, now if we're doing introductories, one of my favorites is I just saw this on the news the other day that they arrested a math professor at the airport. It was an absolutely insane thing, but all he had on him was a protractor, a calculator, and a ruler. Guess you could say he was carrying weapons of math construction.
I don't know if that joke added
That
up.
one's pretty good. I like that one.
That one sucks. But my other
That
favorite
was a
one.
groaner.
It was a calculated mistake.
Calculated.
oh,
You know, you
I'm gonna
kind of
pencil
are
that one
at
in.
the dad level, Click. We need to have you part of this too.
Yeah, Click. Give us your best one-liner dad joke.
I don't have one.
He doesn't have one cooking? All right, well, here's my other favorite one then that I say all the time. Man walks into a bar and he notices there's random slabs of meat hanging on the ceiling, and he's like, "That's kind of weird." So he goes up to the barkeep and he says, "Barkeep, what's up with the meat up there?" And the barkeep goes, "Oh, we're having a competition. If you can jump up there and touch the meat, you get free drinks for the rest of the night. But if you miss, you have to pay for everyone's drinks for the night." And the guy goes, "Oh, okay, interesting. All right, all right." And the barkeep says, "What do you say? You want to give it a go?" The guy says, "Nah, I'm going to pass on this one." The barkeep goes, "No, why not? Come on, it's fun. Why not?" And the guy goes, "Well, you see, the stakes are too high."
Ha,
Classic, classic.
That one's good.
It's classic.
Mhm.
Well, I want both of you to think of more lovely jokes. We'll get back to more jokes a little bit later in the show. And in fact, if you're in the chat and you have a good dad joke, please share that dad joke and we'll
Send it
we'll
only
see-
to my email so I have more ammo against
whoa,
Boots.
whoa, whoa.
Give me
whoa.
the upper field advantage, my children, for what
I'm-
it's worth.
I'm telling them to put it in the chat, but if you want to, you could send it to Charlie at forwhatitsworth.com. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby.
So, once again, the topic that we're talking about today is we wanted to get an opportunity. Actually, Boots has been on the show before. His last episode that he was here, he came in and actually talked about VRChat before. And so basically I've invited him on, but this time what we're going to be talking about is the ins and outs of like how to get started. You're a brand new user, you want to get into VRChat. What are some of the things that you feel is important? What are some of the things that you need to know in order for you to be successful being able to enter the digital world? Maybe also if you're in chat today, please feel free to jump in, type in some of your own pieces of advice, and we'll make sure to jump in and read some of that as well. So, first and foremost, what is VRChat? Just in case nobody knows what that is. Reyess, do you want to tell us what VRChat is?
Yeah, sure. It's basically an interactive chat room where there's also worlds, and you control an avatar like you have and Boots has, and you can experience different things in those worlds that people build. So it's created by the community. Okay. It's a very social thing, so it's kind of what you make it. But there's a lot of novel experiences too, uh, related to worlds that are made. Boots, what do you think?
I agree. I think that VRChat is basically a web browser for a large collection of VRChat worlds that you can go to. You can do singing, you can do games, you can chill and watch movies. You can do just getting to know you. You can go sit in a bus on a highway on a rainy night or something like that. You name it, it's probably
Yeah,
been made at some
pretty
point.
much anything you can think of, someone's probably built it.
So is VRChat the only place that you can get into for furry VR?
For furry VR, no. The other main competitor for it right now is Resonite. It has less of a large base, but it's a little bit more powerful as it relates to what you can do in the world. So here in VRChat, everything you see is built outside VRChat and then uploaded. Whereas with Resonite, everything's made pretty much in the world, except for a few things. But it's a little more complicated to get into.
Agreed.
Thank you for telling us the differences between those two.
Sorry,
Um,
Timid's comment. His joke was good.
go for it. What did he say?
I told my daughter to go to bed. The cows are sleeping in the field. She said, "What's that got to do with anything?" I said, "That means it's past your bedtime."
Oh, that one's so bad. Oh no.
That's good.
Oh.
That's good. Oh my gosh. I
The
like that one.
Poultrygeist one was pretty good too.
Poultrygeist?
So the Poultrygeist?
Yeah,
it
Farmer's
was,
Chicken
that
died
was
recently.
very good.
Now he has Poultrygeist.
You know
Sorry.
what's funny about the no, you're good, you're good. What's funny about the dad jokes is I have a dad joke book that I gave out to everybody in the office. And so I'll read a chapter of it every single like day, and my team has gotten to the point where they're like, "Where's our dad joke? You haven't told us our dad joke for the day." So you would think that I like have like a huge ammunition, but my brain is like, I eat too many cookies and it's not good for your brain. So I can't remember hardly any of them, like the good ones. I need to start like starring the ones that I really like so that I can have them ready and available. But
Collect a database. So yes,
the database.
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 So, jumping back into the subject of VR, what is the purpose of it? Like why don't we just do this in the real life? Like you were talking about sitting lonely on a bus, right? Why don't you just I mean, Charlie loves buses. He loves trains.
I love
Why get into VR and go into a virtual train when you can do that in real life?
Our trains are stinky though. I wouldn't get in our trains.
Well, I don't know. I think that with VR, like Ray said, it's what you put in is really what you get out. A lot of times, like I loved going to fur cons and stuff. I loved hanging out with people. But a lot of times, especially the older you get, the more it seems like your schedule kind of fills up. And it's hard to have a large group of people where it's like, hey, everybody, let's schedule it. This time we're going to take a 30-minute drive down to this restaurant, and do all these things. And it's hard to do that, every day. And in VR, like when I first got started, it was during the pandemic. Was where you couldn't see anybody, and it was something that shouldn't replace social interactions, but definitely should supplement it. And it's something that kept me healthy mentally, and it's something that has. It's something that I didn't know would be a big part of my life, but it's something that's it's like having a phone with you for some of those older people. Imagine what it was like not having a cell phone with you at all times, and how you still survived. You did fine, but now that you have a cell phone, there's a lot more things you're capable of. With VR, like you can see friends in Germany. You don't have to wait, a year to spend a weekend with friends that you never see. It's more than just a phone call. Like right now, it feels like Ruchi is right here in front of me. Looks like Ray is right in front of me. Like when we're long
Even though that he's
distance.
also in the next room.
Yes, but when we were long distance and stuff, like they were across the country. This is a way how we kept in contact, and
Yeah,
it's
it's interesting. You get an actual sense of the person. It's different than like a Discord call, then they have a webcam maybe or something. A lot is different when you can actually like, be there and touch the person, and be like, I see you. And there's a lot of body language too that you just can't get in those types of situations. Plus, you can be a cartoon animal when you do it. Can't do that in real life. So that's a good reason.
Y- for myself, I have been to a lot of different conventions throughout my years. I'm getting old. Shaking cane moment. Just kidding. Um, I've gotten older, and one of the things but I've gotten to know a lot of people. And it used to be, hey, I'll see you next year. And I'll chat with them once in a while on Discord. And now it's like, because I've been able to get to know people a little bit better online, like I'll jump on and I get to hang out with those people that I meet at the conventions. I actually went to a virtual convention, not virtual convention, sorry. I went to MFF, and all of those people were people that I had met, online. Um and it was is I took a chance. I jumped in there. I mean, I could have been murdered. I could have. Anyways, yes, I had my fears. But my point is that it gives me an opportunity at night to jump on and be able to socialize with other people. And I've been able to get to know people that are from across the world. I never had an opportunity to do that. Most of my acquaintances, the people that I know, my friends are, you know, just local in Utah, which I love my friends in Utah and I love hanging out with them. In fact, I'm going to game night tonight to go and hang out and play board games with everybody. But it's also nice to be able to jump on, and I feel like that my friendships have been able to grow because I've been able to hang out with people that distance is no longer an issue. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
Distance
there's
is no longer an issue. It's not. It's like I could just open up a portal and jump in and be right there.
That's a
So
good point. And there's also you can do stuff in VR that you couldn't do in real life with them, like actual experiences. You can jump out of an airplane with your friend here in VR and go skydiving. You wouldn't want to necessarily do that in real life unless you're really committed to it. Um, oh, that's lovely. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah. No, I fully agree. I think that being able to talk with friends, every night or something like that, where especially if you got work tomorrow, you can hop on for like an hour. It's like a Zoom call. It's like calling somebody up over the phone, but that much better. Like I've talked about VR with a lot of my friends at work, and a lot of the biggest complaint they have is you get older, it's harder to meet friends. Like it's harder to find time to go out, to go to the bar or something like that, and like hang out with people. But this is a great way to supplement that type of interaction.
so Klik, what is your experience with VR itself?
Mm, not as much. I have it. I don't use it as much as I probably should.
Well,
Um, yeah, pretty much that same thing though. It makes it a lot easier to hang out with people, makes it a lot easier to do things. But I also like playing games in VR that are 360 degrees completely immersive. If you're in a VR game, you're in a VR game. You're not just looking at a screen.
I remember going to that pop escape room with you guys. Even though that we were stuck in there for hours, it sure was fun. I
that
love
was a
that.
good experience. I did that one too. Yeah.
Um Charlie, what
Hmm?
is your experience in VR?
Well, my dear sweet little Roo, back when
Mhm.
HTC made a 5, I got one of those first things, and there wasn't a whole lot of games. We had like 2 games that were cool, like Space Pirate Trainer and some zombie one that was like a rail shooter. That one was pretty cool. And then everything changed when Beat Saber was done. And that game rocked my world. Let me tell you, cardio days were great. I could get into rhythm. But then the cable sucks for those new 360 songs, so you gotta kind of finagle it. But playing with those has been super fun. Now with my Valve Index and my little body tracker thingamajiggies, I can also join the world of VR. It's just I'm rather lazy because I have the VR set up in the living room where there's the most amount of play space, and my huge hunk of a machine is obnoxious to transfer from the bedroom to the living room. And so I don't use it as often as I'd like. But it's awesome. I love it. My favorite thing, one of my favorite memories with VR is for a family reunion, I brought it and made everyone try it. And it was so much fun to watch everyone freak out in the little like portal trial thing where it teaches you the basics of VR. And the floor is falling apart around you and like characters are flying and you're shooting balloons. Watching like my older relatives that are like 60 plus having a blast and like begging me to play it every day afterwards was like pretty much the best experience ever. That was so much fun.
Yes.
Nice. So
Actually,
go for it.
oh no, I just wanted to mention with older ones, especially. My grandma, the final week she was alive, actually, she was stuck in her house. And what I did is I brought my setup to her house, and we actually did Google Earth, and we would place her in all the places she used to live, and she could sit down on the street and look around. She's like, "Oh, right down the road, there was an elementary school," and we'd scoot her down. She was so excited, like just looking around and stuff. But mobility, definitely, like a lot of people don't really understand what it is and the benefits it can have. But yeah, it was good. It helped her in that moment. So
That's nice. That's good feelings.
Google Earth and VRChat gave me anxiety.
There's a fun world that Boots introduced me to. It's geocaching. It
yes,
uses
Oh yeah.
That one's good.
it's fun. Basically, it's just like it's a virtual world. It's a game. You have a map, and basically, you 360. You see basically a Google map, and then you take the little icon and throw it down on the map itself, and there you go. And whoever gets the closest is the one that gets the most points, and it goes on to the next round. So it's very competitive. It's very fun. Um, so just so that people in chat are aware, yes, we can see your chats, and yes, majority of us here are furries. But
Wait, you
but
said
yeah,
majority. Who isn't one?
well, all of us here are furries, pretty much.
Mm,
I don't think that there's one person here
sus.
that's not a furry. Oh, he's an imposter.
There's also a large community of non-furry people on VRChat specifically too.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's important to point out as well. It's not just us. What are some of the other communities that you know of, Reyes?
Well, I mean, communities. I'm just trying to say that not everyone's a furry. There's just people that have their own interests, right? Like I don't really know how to answer that question aside from not furries.
It's
animal
okay. I
people.
mean,
Because we don't
yeah.
interact with them.
Yeah, I don't talk to them. I'm sure
Yeah.
they do things that humans do, but
Well, that's one of the beauty of like doing games and stuff, where like we'll do karaoke, and a lot of times you'll have human avatars come in and
yeah.
stuff like that. And most of the people, I mean, it's the internet, so you'll get people that will, you know, make insinuations about your mother's virtue, and then there's other people that are cool. So yeah, so
So, how to get started? You're brand new, brand new. You're getting into VR. What are like let's first start talking about hardware. Do you need to have a VR headset in order to be able to get into a VR world?
no. So you can
So
do
what
what
do
is
you need?
called just a good, decent computer. So depending on the world you go into, it obviously uses more resources, but you can go into what is known as desktop mode. VRChat is free. You can download it today, and you can log in. I would suggest if you have a friend who has played it, they can kind of walk you into it. So
Yeah, pretty much. And in that, you're missing out on a lot of the experience because you're not in VR. but you can get in and at least kind of see the experiences people are having. I guess I guess if we look at it as like layers of immersion, that's like your layer 0. You're there, but you're not really, right? And then you get your headset and so forth.
Well, let's
What-
Still
talk
a nice
about.
way to hang out. Although being in desktop mode gives you a hella advantage on mini golf.
Yeah, that's cheating though. You shouldn't do that.
That's true. That's true. So let's talk about the level 0 first and kind of work our way up those different levels. So I would have to say something that's very basic to get in VR. Nowadays, you can actually get into VR with your phone. You don't even have to have a desktop. You don't even need to have a headset itself. You can just pull it up on your phone. Now, I understand that if you are an Apple user, you have to join their beta. I have it. I've popped in a couple of times. Let me tell you, it is doable, but you can't see everybody. And there are things that are limiting. You can't go to every single world that's there. Sometimes the colors don't look as bright. Sometimes some of the avatars look a little bit off. And not exactly like I can't use this avatar if I was in mobile. I would have to choose a different avatar. And another way is desktop mode, like you were saying, or you could just have VR headset by itself. If you have a Quest or a Quest 2 or Quest 3, you could get in without having a computer at all. But you're limited to certain worlds that you can go to. You can only go to Quest only worlds, and you can only look and see certain avatars.
And definitely each different headset, you're going to be at a different price point too. So, I mean, depending how much you want to get into it, like if you have a friend that has a headset, it's a great way to give it a try. Or a Quest 2, very, very cheap.
So, what are some of the different VR headsets? And what do you feel like is the best one? Reyess, that's part of the reason why, like, that you're here, because out of anybody, you have tested out
I might have a
almost
problem
all of the
with
different
headset.
type of headsets. So, what one?
I started with a Quest 2 actually, so I didn't experience like the Rift and the Rift S and all that leading up to it. But as far as like modern-ish headsets, um, like Boots said, a really cheap and a decent one. Most of my time was in a Quest 2. That was a great headset. You can do standalone, like you just said, where it runs right on the headset and you don't need a computer. Or you can also have it connect to a computer later down the line if you decide you want to get more into it. So it's kind of a good springboard for that. We can talk about more expensive ones, but maybe that'll happen as we take the discussion further to other things. I don't know.
Let's go for it. Let's go. Let's keep in the subject of VR headsets.
Yeah.
Actually, before we do that, let's just go around round robin. What does everybody have? What is their main one that they are currently using? If you're in chat, what do you use? Like for me right now, I'm using a Quest 2. I would like to upgrade eventually, but I am the wishful, hopeful angel that is looking upon the stars and wishing upon the Index 2 to come
Yes.
out someday. And so that's what I have been waiting for, and that's why I haven't spent my money to upgrade, because I keep hearing whispers that something is potentially coming out soon. And the reason why I want to go towards an Index is because I know that most people, they're either like, people really like the Index. It's just right now it's really old technology. In fact, Boots, I know what you're in is you're in the Index 1. You just barely bought everything all over again, and the price point hasn't really changed much. But it's 4-year-old technology at this particular point, right?
Still good though. Still
4 or
good.
5, something
What-
like that.
Yeah, yeah. And that's exactly right. We're hoping for Index 2, so fingers crossed. But it's still good. The display's good. What I love is it's got headphones that sit off your ears, so it's not resting on your ears. The microphones I feel is better than the Quest 3, though they've had some upgrades. But I still love my Index. Absolutely love it. But like you said, very expensive. It's about $1,000. But I've bought 3 now at this point. I've gone through a couple
Yeah.
and using it almost every day for a couple of weeks, or at least 2 to 3 times a week for the past couple of years. It gets a lot of use, that's for sure.
And speaking about the Index, Aside from the price, they haven't adjusted it, and it is old tech. That's correct. I think it could stand to come down a bit. You can find them used really cheap. Okay, and if you can find that in good condition, that is a great way to start VR if you want to get serious about it. You've had a Quest 2, you've done the standalone. Okay, I got my computer. I want to hop in and see what PC VR is about. That is a great setup because it has everything you need and it just works. Steam VR doesn't have the complications and added layers of complexity that something like Quest might have if you want to do PC VR.
Yes.
So let's Klik. What do you have?
I have an index.
Nice. Voss, what do you have?
I also have the index. I love my articulated fingers.
Articulated.
You know, it's gotten better. It's gotten better with time. I don't want to mess myself up too much, but I can actually put my my head my controllers down. Sorry, I can't talk today. And then I can actually move my fingers one at a time. It's pretty cool. I'm not going to do that right now because it's going to move me all over the place. I know it.
And I'm in a Quest Pro, by the way, to answer your question.
Very
So
nice.
yeah.
So what features does the Quest Pro have?
Aside from what Quest brings on its own, a Quest 2 or 3 versus a Quest Pro, the main reason to get it is for the face and eye tracking features that it has. Right? Otherwise, I'd recommend a Quest 3 because it's a great device at a great price.
Yeah.
Wow. Good ride.
Charlie, what did you say that you had again?
I had the HTC Vive once long ago, and now I currently also own a Valve Index.
Very nice. So, if you were to choose a VR headset, you're a brand new person, brand new. What, Reyes, would you recommend for somebody that's brand new and they're looking to buy a headset right now?
Are they wanting to do PC VR or do they want standalone like Quest or whatever?
Oh, do
Mm.
PC. Do PC. Come on.
Because that's going to inform that decision, right? We need to know that.
All right, well then go down both paths.
Okay, for a standalone, a used Quest 3 would be pretty hard to beat. Otherwise, you can get like new Quest 2s for dirt cheap, and really that is a great way to start. Again, it's a fine device, even if it has some age, to at least see if it's even something you're into. And then if you do, it's not a big lift to go to something else because you didn't spend much. And if you're doing PC VR, like I said, an index setup's hard to beat because it just works and it has really great features. You won't deal with a lot of the nuance that other setups have, and you can focus more on what's important, which is experiences rather than tech issues and setups and hardware and all that. You get in, you start having fun. That's really the point at the beginning.
Nice.
And depending on the Quest 2 versus Quest 3, I know that, so when Ray, I was really into VR, and I'm like, oh, Ray, you got to get into this. And we tried a couple of different headsets, and there's actually differences in motion sickness, too.
Yeah,
So
that's a
you
big
can
one.
talk about, like, maybe just very high level, like from your path from, like, Quest 2, why you changed from each one and stuff like that.
Yeah, when I started VR proper, right, not desktop, but actually in a headset, I never did standalone. I just went straight to PC VR and I used a Quest, and I got the worst motion sickness. There's features in VRChat though that you can turn on to minimize that. They're in comfort and safety settings. You can change how you turn and how you even move around to minimize it. Um, and another tip that you shared was actually having a fan blowing on you at the beginning helps you not feel as queasy, you know. You adjust to it over time, but that was a nice thing. And then the Quest 3 came out. I got that simply because I wanted all the features it brings. It's the same setup. It's just, okay, better screens, wider field of view, a lot of creature comforts, right?
I wish the Index had the screen of the Quest 3. It definitely is a lot
It's
better. So
beautiful. Yeah.
the refresh rate, I don't know if there really was a big change from the Index to the Quest 3, but
You're not going to get
that helped.
144 frames no matter where you go, so who cares?
Yeah. But
We
it,
need to
it,
stop talking about that.
it goes to stand, though, that a lot of times people, when they first come into VRChat, I highly suggest getting like a Quest 2 or a Quest 3 to see if you want to, but having it connected to a PC, because that's where you're going to see a lot of the
Yeah.
worlds, a lot of your friends.
So when I first got into VR, I was super, super, super excited because I got my headset and I had my Apple computer, and that's the only thing I had was my Apple computer, and I'm like, I'm gonna go into VR chat. People have talked all about this, and I went in there and everything was gray. Everything, I couldn't see anybody. I couldn't talk to anybody. It is difficult to get into VR chat. But then once I got a PC and I connected via the PC, it really did open up the world for me a little bit more, because then that way I wasn't talking to these random robots. Because that's all, and that's no fun, because just to see the robots and stuff like that. So I do agree with you, Boots, that the best way is that if you can start off on like at the bottom level, I would say start out on PC desktop. You go in, you kind of like look at some things, but let me tell you, it's another level when you get into actual VR itself. When you put on VR, how was your first experience? When you put on that VR headset and you looked down and you saw your paws.
Yeah, that was trippy. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
one
that's
thing to note about comparisons, don't you still have to have a Facebook/Meta account to use a Quest?
Not anymore.
Don't you
But
anymore?
you still have to have an Oculus account.
No, but
But
it's
it's no
different.
longer. But
yeah.
but
Okay,
they
well
they
that's
kept
cool.
changing it
It's
back
good
and
they got
forth.
rid of that.
They had huge pushback, and so they kind of backpedaled on that,
Yeah.
thankfully. So, yeah.
Hmm.
But no,
So
looking at the
I like
bees.
to compare it to the first time that you put your fursuit on in some way or form. Well, hear me out first. It's also different when you're putting on a random avatar versus putting on your own. When you are your own avatar, it is like night and day as well. When you look back in the mirror and you see yourself, your character, your persona that you created, that is a different experience. It's just like if you went and wore somebody's random fursuit. It's still a good positive experience and it's enjoyable and it's good to try out, but it is a different experience when you put on your own persona. It's like, this is me. So
That's a really good point. Yeah.
when Voss, good old Voss, thank you, Voss. I'm going to give you credit for this. When Voss helped me create Rue 1.0, it was like, I think I was messaging you, Voss. What was I saying? It's like, you breathe life into me. Like I was. I
Yeah.
was sending you some pretty big messages of like, you are like God.
This is me. I love this. I can't stop. It's endless. I'm never gonna give it up, and you haven't ever.
Hey, hey, you did this to me. This is your fault.
I did.
And I have some friends, some European friends. I've been trying to move from Second Life into VRChat, right? And one of them in particular, they had trouble getting into VRChat, like you rightly said. The avatars are great, but they didn't really feel like them. Um, it changed when they found one that they really identified with, and then they were able to start enjoying experiences. So you really do have to look for that. It's a big part of it.
It's part who you hang out with too. Like I mean, it's with any new technology, any type of social scene. Like imagine the first time you got on like Blue Sky, and it's like, well, why do I want to go to a website to look at things? And it wasn't until you started having friends, like content, reasons to come back, like game night and stuff. Like every Monday, it's awesome. Spend time with friends. But I actually owned VR for about a year and a half before I started using it pretty frequently, and it was only after I started having friends online and a reason to come back.
Yeah, I agree with you. The first time that I logged in, it was like I thought that I had gotten over social anxiety. I could go into a room and be like, "Hi everybody, how you doing?" No, exactly in that voice, right? Like, "Hey everyone." I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. But it's not. It was really hard for me. I got into VR, and let me tell you, I went into a public instance. and I was like wandering around, and there was all these random people. There was one person that was like screaming down the halls, and I was like, what hell have I joined? What is this? I could not talk to anybody. And I have found that that's actually something that happens to a lot of people when they first get into VR, is that it's a new experience. You don't know how to interact. You don't know how to it's different. And you wouldn't think that it would be different, but it is. And there are different people at different social levels. That there are some people that don't actually talk in here in VR. That they're mutes. They'll just type something out to you once in a while, and um but yeah, it goes at different stages.
That was me. I would draw. So yes, but no, it's because it's very it's disturbing how real it is. Like it looks like a video game. I'm sure a lot of people who are seeing the screen right now, it's a very flat character, looks like any other screen, character video game thing. But when you're actually there, it really does trick your brain. It feels like somebody's a foot and a half away from me with these big floofy ears, and it kind of like sets you back. We're like, oh crap, there's a person. I better not say something embarrassing or stupid or something like that. So yeah.
Well, going back to the hardware, that's important. But before we do that, is there anything that's being said in chat? Klik, Charlie, Voss,
There's
or
a
any
lot of
comments that you
jokes.
guys have? Oh, should we have a joke? That would be good.
There's a couple of things here. Let's see. Some people are stating that they like the desktop one because they have really bad motion sickness when it comes to the VR headset. So it's fun to have that ability to still jump in without having to be all the way through it.
I would suggest if you have a desktop mode to wear headphones and a microphone, because otherwise you get a lot of feedback. So, but yes,
Headphones is where it's at. We got oops all furries. You must be a peasant. Dang. That was funny. Here's a joke. Here's a joke. Ahem. Meta. That is correct.
Okay.
John Clapper claims they know a lot of jokes. What do you call a fox with a sunburn? A red fox.
Huh? Oh. What did they say in Zootopia about red foxes? Do you remember? Does somebody remember
That
that
they're
line?
submissive and breedable?
No,
in the extended version. So.
In the extended version, what was it that they said, Boots?
No,
About
I
red
was
foxes?
saying the breedable was in the extended version. So yeah.
I don't remember what they say. I know it's something.
Actually, Voss remembers.
Yeah.
He says it to me all the time.
Yeah.
What was it?
Do you know why foxes are red? Because the devil made
Why?
them.
Oh,
That's because the devil. That's right. Because the
That's
dad.
right. The
said
grandpa
that.
said that.
Yeah.
The devil
Nice.
makes them.
He did.
Ooh.
I'm excited for Zootopia 2. Who's excited for Zootopia 2? I am. Yay.
Dude, the fact that it's coming out this year with Kihu Kwan being a snake is gonna be so good.
Was there snakes in the first one?
No,
No.
so this will be
Ah.
fun. There's gonna be new characters, elements. We're gonna finally understand where they get meat from. So there's fish. There's gonna
Meat?
be a bayou section. There's all kinds of stuff. Dude, I'm so excited.
Hoping more
Uh,
foxes. There was only 3.5 in the last movie, so I'm just saying.
True.
It just needs to be oops all foxes.
Yeah.
What do you call a lazy baby kangaroo?
What's that?
This is actually pretty cute. A pouch potato.
Oh, that one's
That
good.
one's cute. I like
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
one.
that's adorable.
Well,
I
hey,
will make you watch
I wanted to
Zootopia 2,
ask our
Grizzly.
lovely audience if you wouldn't mind helping us to be able to boost our numbers a little bit. If you have some friends, send the link out, please. Send them out and let people know that we are doing this right now.
So, why did the necromancer kill everyone in the tavern?
What's that?
He wanted to raise the bar.
Oh, it's terrible.
Well, let's jump back into the topic at hand. Is there any particular things that you need to know about controllers?
Ooh. Obviously, so you've got a couple of different ones. As it was said before, Index actually just has touch pads along the grip, so you can do individual finger movements, which is
That's
nice.
cool.
Yeah. With the Quest 2, they've kind of got like a mitten click, so they've got the trigger, and then they've got like a side little grip. So usually you can do like this pose or click pose. So yeah. So
I have the
So-
Quest 2 controller. That's why I'm doing my little motions.
yeah.
There's also the factor that some controllers can work even when they're not in the view of the headset, right? The headset doesn't have to see them. So, like the Quest Pro controllers, you can put them behind your back and it still works. Whereas Quest 2 ones, they kind of glitch out.
Yep.
Index
So
ones, they work behind you, assuming your base
if I put
stations are
my
set
hands
correctly.
behind myself, they work pretty well. But eventually, they're gonna start freaking out. They're like, "Where
Yeah.
are you? Where are you?"
hmm
So
Yes, and
And
I
then
think
there's
the pros, don't they have the cameras built into the controllers too? That's why
they do. I
yeah.
am mixed on these. When they work, they're fine, but man, they're
Well,
buggy.
they need a lot of light usually too, so you can't like play in the dark. So if you're trying to keep other people
Yeah.
asleep,
Yeah, that's a good point too. The Index, you can use that in pitch black, and I think it works because it uses IR lights, you know? I think that's pretty cool.
yeah. But so Ray, you've gone through a couple of different ones. So you've kind of mix and matched a couple of the headsets, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah. I was using Index controllers with a Quest and did kind of a mixed setting where I had base stations for the controllers, but then the Quest was its own headset, and there's a lot of nuance there regarding syncing those play spaces together, which is probably something we should talk about, right?
what's that?
Um,
Play space?
so yeah, so when you're doing PCVR, right? If you're in a Quest, um, and you don't have like tracking on your body or anything, you can just hop right in. Your controllers and your headset will work fine. But if you're going in and okay, I'm going to add trackers to my body so I can move and stuff, there's special software you have to run to calibrate it because the headset, your Quest, has its own play space that won't talk to Steam VR. So you need to run special software to synchronize them so one point in space matches the other one. And that's where it gets complicated. Whereas the Index, you don't have to worry about that. It just works.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk. You said the word trackers. What is this word
You
trackers?
can like move your body. See, you can
I can't
move
move my
around.
beans. My beans are
He
dead.
can't. He doesn't have his
I have no
movable beam.
beans. No, no.
So what type of? Just real quick, what type of trackers are there?
So there's the most popular one you'll probably hear about is Slime, but really that's a brand. They're really based on
Mhm.
IMUs or inertial measuring units, okay? And they don't use base stations that are mounted to the ceiling like an Index. They track themselves based on inertia and rotation, and they communicate via Wi-Fi.
So is
The
that
ones
what
that,
usually is like put into controllers?
yeah, yeah. So you can like the Nintendo Switch, for example, right? Those little slap-on controllers, those are basically IMUs. You could use those as a tracker. You could do that.
Have you been liking your slimes? So Ray actually just got some slimes, maybe a day and a half ago,
Yeah,
yesterday.
I'm actually in them right now. I'm still learning how to configure them. They seem pretty good. I will say that the other type that we should definitely talk about is base station, okay, or lighthouse base trackers like Vives. 2.0s and 3.0s are the ones you'll hear about. And those work by having IR light shined on them and tracking where you are, a point in space in real time. But that means that you can't cover them up with something, they'll lose tracking. The slime, it doesn't care, so you can wear a blanket over it and it still works.
Which is nice because if it's a cold night and you're in your skivvies, you
Mhm.
know, just in
Yeah.
your underwear and you're like, it's getting kind of chilly. And then you put a blanket on you
hmm
and you have trackers on, depending on what trackers that you have, you might no longer have the ability to move your body around at that particular point. Then
Especially
un-
positioning. A lot of times, like you'll put an arm over or something like that, and it can block it, or you have like a leg or something like that. But yeah.
another
Cost.
one that you can potentially use is the ultimate trackers. So those are the trackers that I have. They are fairly pricey, but how they work is they have individualized cameras on each of them. So as you're moving around, it can see where you're moving. But the problem with them is you have to make sure your room is as bright as the sun. You have to
Yeah.
have light. And you have to make sure that you have posters on your wall or something because it's reading constantly your room. And if it all of it sees is just a white wall, it will just be like, what's going on? I don't know where you're at anymore. So there are times, and also if I all of a sudden like put my hand over one of my trackers, it will shut off, and or I'll lose it, and then it'll break. So sometimes it's also good for you to have a mixture of different programs. You could actually have Standable to be with your trackers as well. So if one of the trackers breaks, Standable will kick in. You could use that. It's a separate program, but I won't go into details about it that much. But just know that it's something that a desktop user could potentially use if you wanted some form of tracking that, and you don't have any trackers. So that might be the cheapest way that you can actually have some form of tracking, so that when you're sitting down, your avatar will go into a sitting down position versus being in a crouching position type thing.
And talking about cost real quick, because that's a big factor for many people. The spirit of this is getting into VR, not necessarily I've been in it a long time. The cheapest
Mhm.
way to get into it is probably IMU-based trackers like Slimes, for example. They can be had very cheap when you look at how many pieces of equipment and the cost you would need to incur to do lighthouse-based tracking and Vive trackers. It is pennies on the dollar comparatively. Um,
What's
and
the price?
that might be something where they're not sure they want VR, but they want to at least move their legs. It's a cheap way to get into it.
What was the
Mhm.
price you paid for yours?
So, like for a 7+3 set, this is 10 point. I think it was like 320 from direct from crowdsource, the slime people. But
Yeah.
you can have them cheaper because slimes or IMUs, you can build them yourself. Or if you have a friend that can make them, they can do it for you.
The ultimate trackers, each tracker is about close to $200.
200 for each one.
Yes,
Okay.
each individual one. So it's more on the higher end, more
Yeah.
expensive.
And the Vive trackers are about 125, 150 for 3.0s. They go on sale sometimes. The ones that work with like the base stations and the index, yeah.
You have to have base stations though. So if you like we're trying to use them with a Quest 2 or something like that, they wouldn't work. But unless you bought lighthouses, which would be an extra 100 per lighthouse
Right.
too.
That's what
So,
I'm saying. It
yeah.
gets expensive. So
Well, hey, we need to take a break. Don't you guys? Do you feel like that you guys need to take a break? I know I need to take a break. Maybe dance around, or maybe sit on a chair.
chair would be nice.
Or something like that. So, can we go to a quick little break? Of course, keep those lovely dad jokes coming. We want to see those and keep chatting away, but we will be right back.
Do you remember that day when we were so young? Boom, 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 my heart was so done. Looking at the hearts it broke one by one. So soon, no, I'm not
Welcome back, ladies and germs. What's good? What's good? But before we continue our adventure, we must make a very special occasion. We must thank our beautiful people with extensive wallets to extend their favors of gratitude and blessings towards us. Yes, we reach for the skies and into their loose change to grant them a particularly personalized thank you for contributing to our Patreon.
No, not
music.
our patrons.
Cue the music.
No, I
This is
don't
Ruth's
want to
favorite
hear this.
soundtrack.
No,
It's so good. Please don't cover his ears. Don't. We must hear them. He must hear the beautiful sounds of the choir. It's
I
our
don't want
favorite.
to.
We are here to welcome Duck, Barnaby Panda, Nuka, Basel the Dragon, Lufis the Raccoon, Black Baldrik, Ichigo Ookami, MephistophEli, Tenax Raccoon, Lygris Rally, Citrus Von Sage, Victor Mutt, Ausi Kat, entire 52, with our good friend Christian as well. Thank you, Patreons, for your never-ending contributions to allowing us to create silly adventures in the fairy fandom. For what it's worth.
Why do you torture me? Why?
Fun.
No, it's not. That music kills my soul every single time. Burns. Well, I appreciate you guys for being our lovely patrons and helping to support the show. It's always been a dream of ours to make sure that the show could take care of itself, and we can take care of ourselves because of our lovely patrons. So thank you for your continued support for our show.
Hey, Rue.
So, yeah, what's up?
Why is sausage bad for you?
Why?
Because it brings out the worst in people.
Ah! You know what? I think that you are pretty. You're pretty cheesy with that joke. I think that you are great. Anywho,
It's good. It's good.
That's
Yeah.
Gouda.
Yeah, it's Gouda. It's a good. I love cheese puns. Those are very good puns.
They're always good. And when in doubt, you can always think of a cheddar one. There's no reason to pry. You can always tell the truth. No need to feel blue. There's always more to do.
Do we have
American.
any more heavy hitters?
Got a couple in the chat to read.
Let's see. A bear walks into a bar and says to the bartender, "I'll have a pint of beer and a packet of peanuts." The bartender asks, "Why the big paws?" Get it? Because they're a bear with big paws.
Ha 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 ha.
Two antennas met on a roof, fell in love, and got married. The ceremony wasn't much, but the reception was excellent.
Nice.
That one's pretty good, actually. I like that one. That's a good structured one.
So there was a question that was put into chat earlier. Does Rue like kissing boys?
The correct answer is no.
Mm.
Rue loves
Is-
gobsmocking on boys, really just locking tongues,
Oh my
PvP mode.
gosh.
Really
Wow.
just gets in there.
We're not in an ERP session, Charlie. Well, let's jump right back into the subject. We are once again talking about VRChat or furry VR and getting started, some tips and tricks. And we also wanted to talk about, some things to kind of watch out for as well. So let's go back right where we were working on. Let's talk about haptic vests. What are haptic vests? So first of all, I do not have a haptic vest myself, but I know of some people that do have a haptic vest. And I've asked him multiple times. I'm like, hey, tell us about Tell me why you have a haptic vest. And he's like, well, I decided to buy it. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I would spend that money again. But he said why he likes it is he gets the opportunity to feel if somebody is tapping him on his back. When somebody's giving him a hug, he feels their arms going around him and you can feel it on the other side. But just to give you a heads up, what is a haptic vest? What is it? How does it work? Basically, haptic vest is a vest itself that you put on and you can actually feel like if somebody comes in, pokes somebody's belly or, touches their back or something like that. It buzzes and you can feel that. So, I mean, it's fun. Is it necessary for the immersion? That's up to you. It's just an added expense. You're looking at probably $600 to $700 for a haptic vest. What's your guys' feelings about haptic vests?
It's what you want. It makes if it makes you more immersive, that's good. But I think that a lot of what I look for when I'm doing VR is quickly hopping in. Like I actually have 2 sets of trackers, but I never use trackers because I just like, putting a headset on, getting some controllers, and within 2 minutes I'm online, ready to go. But it would be cool, like once you're kind of experiencing VR, there are things that you can pay more for in order to become more immersive and lift up your legs and or eye tracking and have your eyes moving the way that your eyes want to move. But yeah, that's it. Ray?
Which,
I haven't
which, go ahead. Sorry.
I haven't used a haptic vest myself, but that is kind of on the extreme end of haptics, which is a whole nother conversation. You can get standalone haptics. Like there's a head pat one where you put it on your headset, and then if someone pets you on the head, you feel them petting your head, and it's not $600, So there's levels of that.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, because you mentioned eye tracking and mouth tracking, and you have the
Yeah.
Pro, right?
Yeah.
So, just to talk about that, like you'll see my eyes in animation. There are some times that my eyes will look at things, like the eyes will be looking at something, and it's really hard to take pictures of me in my model because there are some times that my eyes like to look everywhere and don't actually look straight on at the camera sometimes. But because you have a Pro, you have the ability to control that, and you also have the ability to. Don't you have facial tracking as well with the Pro?
Mouth tracking and face tracking, yeah. And it
So,
really it comes back to layers of immersion, right? Like you get your headset and then okay, now you want your legs and your arms. Okay, what's next? Maybe a haptic thing and okay, now you can have your face. Cuz right now, Boots here, in order to change his expressions, he's doing stuff with his fingers, making different shapes, and that creates but when you no longer have to do that, when it's just your face, that's another layer, but it's expensive. How much do you want to spend, like you rightly said?
hmm I'm the same way. I basically Rue the avatar where I'm a puppet basically. And the fact that I move my fingers, you'll see I move this finger like this. My eyes close. I move my finger like this, I'm blushing. I move my finger in a fist like this, I'm sad. If I want to be angry, I uh, angry is hard. I'm not a very angry
Rock
person,
on.
so it's
The
hard.
rock on.
Oh,
Yes.
the rock on.
And
So
there,
you
there's
don't have
there's
to do that.
other yeah, you I don't. And you can then go take it further. Like on mine, I've taken the face tracking data, so when I look right or left, my ears are like looking that way, you see, and up and down. And if I smile, my tail wags, right? You see, so it gets really in depth. You can do a lot of different things.
Wait a minute.
But
There was
again,
somebody
it's
in chat
expensive.
that wants to see that smile tag tail wag one more time.
And it's additive.
Thank you.
So a little smile is just a little one, and then a big smile, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah, again, it goes back to the levels. Like as you can see, and this is why that I feel like that sometimes people have a hard time getting into VRChat. Is that it's like there's sometimes that it's like I want to eat all of the elephant. I want it all. And it's just like Klik, when you got into fursuiting, you wanted all of it, right? You wanted to make sure that you had every single piece and you wanted to jump in 100%. Is that how is that the best way to go about it? To some it is. That was the best way for you, right, Klik?
Yeah, but I just made my own.
Yeah, you made your own. But there's just different levels. You don't have to jump in and have everything. You can start at a smaller level and work your way up. But
That's
you'll
great
see,
advice. Yeah.
and that's what I would recommend because this hobby is an expensive hobby.
Well,
But you don't have to make it an expensive hobby. You can go in as cheap as you want, or you can go in as expensive as you want. But I think at the very beginning, you just kind of take these little steps first to make sure that it's something that you are really invested in, that you are interested in.
and really, if you're starting out, focus on experiences, not hardware and all that. Focus on having good experiences, meeting good people, good conversation. The rest of that stuff may become important to you later, but that's really the core of this. If you don't have that, none of the rest's going to matter.
I would say for experiences baseline, at least get VR, like I said, or like has been said before, Quest 2 you can pick up for about $200. And most decent computers, they can connect and give you the full experience. And you can get the full VR experience for $200 plus whatever you paid for your computer. So
So let's jump into experiences. So now you're in VR. You're now in VR. You've gotten your headset, and like, is the first place that you go to? Do you jump into a public instance? Is that your first place?
no.
You
Don't do it.
why?
I mean, it's the internet. You're probably going to get a lot of people that are, I don't know. There's kids on here too that will just scream, obscenities at people. But that being said, public worlds can be good. I've met a lot of, when I first started out, I didn't know anybody. That was where I met people. I think that, many patrons of your guys' show, they kind of have a leg up. They've got a friend to help get them into VR. But if you don't have that, public world sadly might be the only way you can go, and that's can be good. There can be good people there, but just like the internet, there's going to be terrible people there too. But thankfully, you can mute them. So
We love the mute button.
Yes, mute button. I have had to do that before a couple of times. But I understand that can be difficult for somebody that's brand new. You're kind of lost. You're like, well, I have this flashlight. Where do I move? Ow, ow! I hit something. That's what happens in VR. I hit my microphone. But yeah, so you run into those situations that you're like, where do I go? And I think it's just like if you go to a convention and you want to find room parties, you have to ask around, search for it, look for it. If you want to, and believe me, was not a gigantic advertisement for my group. It was not. I promise. I promise it wasn't. But me and Boots run a group called Beans at Play, and it's called the BAP group. And every Monday night we do a social gathering where we do games, and it's just a game night, and that's all that we do. But what are some other social groups that you guys know of that's friendly? Also, chat. If you have some social groups yourself that you want to shout out, please feel free to pimp those or put them out if you want.
So my week, usually I've got days that I come on if I just feel up to it, but the two things that I usually go to, sometimes three, is Monday. We do the game night and stuff, and it's pretty fun. We look at different worlds, different games that are trending or ones that people have enjoyed. Usually Thursdays, they've got like
What's your
bad
favorite
movie
game that
nights.
we've played?
Favorite game. Obviously, catch that phrase. I mean, come on,
That one's
it's
good.
such a fun one. So,
I love that one.
but Audience Anarchy is also a crowd favorite, where you actually are given a script, one line at a time, and you have to act out different scenes, and you're the actor, and it's very spontaneous. It's a little scary socially, but you can sit in the audience and kind of watch people, and if you want to, you can participate. But yeah, it's a very fun one. Another one is they've got like Bad Movie Night. I'm a group or a part of a group where they just kind of see weird or funny movies. Everybody kind of sits in a theater. People who want to see it kind of sit close, and other people kind of do a Mystery Science Theater 3000 stuff in the background, and it's a lot of fun. And every Friday, I'll do a late night karaoke and stuff, and there's a pretty good turnout. It's a lot of fun. So.
If you go to Boots's late night karaoke and you put in for a song, you will be waiting for an hour.
Not if you show
You
up. When
will.
you show up right when it starts, then it's not too bad. So
So you
always
get to sing one song, and then after that, your second song's an hour.
now you know. Yes.
I am not judging it. I think it's great. I think it's great that you have, that your group has grown that big.
It's a lot of fun. So
What were you going to
Yeah.
suggest?
Not necessarily any specific one, but more just you find people in the same way you do in real life. Like you said, at a convention, you have to go, but you pursue your interests, go places that you think would be interesting to see, and you'll find people there that presumably are into the same stuff you are. And then you start making friends that way, right?
if you're nice
Um,
to people, usually they're nice back. So don't be a dick. So yes.
There are some, I mean, I do know that there are some furries that have said um that they do jump into some public instances. And some of them are curated, that they have somebody there that will go in and say, "Hey, how old are you?" I think it's fur, what is that furry world?
For Hub
The main, is it, well, not Fur Hub. Fur
or Furry
Hub's for
Hangout.
Avatar. Yeah,
Furry
Furry
hideout.
Hideout. Sometimes they'll do that themselves. Um, there's another group that I know of that's good for new people. The Lore Lounge. I also know that Furality has a new user furry hangout night. So because they want to be able to help increase attendance to their convention, and so therefore they have a night for new users to come on. That would be a great way to potentially get to know new people as well. So what are some let's talk a little bit about like avatars themselves. So I think that the best way when you're brand new is for you to visit FurHub. FurHub is a world, just add it to the search bar when you're searching for worlds, and they have tons and tons of furry avatars that you can go and look at. And that will help you to be able to choose a base. And that's the whole point. Find your base first before you jump in and try to customize your own. Maybe if you need help, there's people that are out there that they do commissions based upon like reskins. So if you find your base, which where would you go to find your base? Do you guys
So, like for Hub, like you said, is good. They have the nice thing about them, they have stands sitting out of some of the popular ones that makers are trying to advertise. So you don't really have to type anything to see what's hot right now. But if you have a sense of what you want, you could go to Prismic's Avatar Search World. That place is pretty great. You can find a lot of public avatars there and start tinkering around.
If you're looking to do like VR especially, it's good to try on the go to these worlds and try on the VR avatars. Because a lot of times the finger sizes will be very different. So a lot of times, like you can have like Ruchi's paws next to mine. He's got the big old mitts, and I've got these little finglings. So yeah.
Finglings.
Big.
So
Big
I love
brain.
fried finglings.
finglings, yes.
You brought up a good point though. Like
Hmm.
avatars, like finding a base and then customizing it, right? Hiring someone to make a texture, or what does that look like? Customizing it, right? Because we said
Mhm.
earlier that has to be done outside VRChat. So what is that process?
Well, I want to actually throw this over to Voss because Voss, you have made your own avatar yourself, and you've actually done some recoloring. I think you guys have probably have dabbled in it too, but let's Voss, you want to give us some helpful tips?
Pay someone to do it.
Mhm.
It takes a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of specialties and many YouTube tutorials. And if you want to, I'm not going to stop anyone who wants to learn and try and figure it out. And I will say YouTube is going to be your bestest friend in the whole wide world. And it just takes a little bit to find, like, retexturing is pretty easy. Is finding a base. Usually what I usually tell people to do is to go to Gumroad, find a base that you like, and then you can go from there, and then you can import it into Blender. A lot of people do other programs to finalize, paint it, retexture. And then after that, you have to do a little thing. Before you can upload it to VRChat, you have to be in VRChat for a while and get a good standing in there before you can upload anything. Or you pay them money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they will be like, oh, you gave us some money? Okay, you can upload whatever you want. So you got to do that first.
Because they have a trusted user system. You have to be in VR for a certain time to be able to get a bigger security clearance type thing. I guess that's how you would say it. Your level goes up, and then you can upload more stuff. You have to become a trusted user. Like if you run around into a world and start screaming your head off and start treating people like crap and everybody's blocking you, your score will go down and you won't become a trusted user. Once you become a trusted user, it's easier for you to be able to upload things. Or you just pay VRChat money.
Yeah. And then, there's retexturing a prior model someone else has made is generally the easiest way to go about to making your own customized self. That's pretty much what everyone here has.
I'm a retexture. This is a Foxbox model. What's your model?
This is Edison Fox, a good bean. What a good bean.
And your model?
This is a custom. It's not a base.
Oh.
Yeah.
So this is a custom, eh?
Mhm.
So tell us about your journey of getting your custom avatar.
Well, it started with bases. I went to Prismix and I started playing with bases, found what I liked about certain things and didn't like. And of course I have my Sona, right? What she's supposed to look like. Eventually I wanted something. I was spending enough time in VRChat, I wanted to have my Sona. So I went to a place called VRC Traders, which is a Discord where you can find people who are verified by the administrators to make and sell digital services like that. They'll make you an avatar. And I commissioned one.
And be pricey, though. So, I mean,
Yeah, custom avatars, for a proper one, it can be very expensive. Versus like a reskin, someone might do it for you for 40, 50 bucks, depends what you're having done. A custom can exceed thousands because of the time it takes, to build everything from a ball of virtual clay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, I will say with that, yes, from my experience in doing all the customizing and everything, about $45, $50, $60 is how much the average person will charge to retexture a prior model. And then a custom one from all of the ones that I've seen and commissioned, because myself, I'm also custom. That one can range anywhere from $600 to $1,200, which still cheaper than a fursuit, but it's still much, much pricier. So you got to know what you want.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Sometimes people are like, I have a bunch of different avatars, you know? Like, for example, a good friend of mine, her name is Sage. She likes to shape change, and she's very talented. She has a lot of different avatars that she's made herself, and she'll change into a snake, she'll change into a fox, she'll change into whatever, a bunny, whatever she's currently feeling, she'll change into it. So you don't have to stick to just one avatar. There's some times that I'm not this wonderful, cute little bean that I am. But yeah, there's a bunch of different avatars, and you can always switch it out depending on your mood. Boots, do you always wear that?
I do usually. I have another one that's a little Foxbox one. Let's see real quick. So, but I had one that was free, and then I paid $40 for an Edison Fox one, and then yeah, see right here. So this is my little Foxbox Boots
You're
style.
still loading in. You're still triangle. There you go.
Hey, so
Hi. He's so cute. Look at
yes.
him.
Mhm.
But usually it's like a familiar layout or clothing style. But yeah, you can change to different ones. Like I said, when I first started, it was a free avatar. I had that for like a year. And then I finally I'm gonna spend $40 and buy an avatar, and then I reskinned it myself, and then I was good to go for $40. It was pretty good.
Mhm.
Nice. Well, Klik, Charlie, is there anything in the chat? Any jokes that we need to talk about or that we need to read? Or any questions?
Looks like John Clapper is interested if we know the Banana Splits gang. And La La La, 1 banana, 2 banana, 4. It's not banana, something anymore. Zoobly Zoo. You can't let a little thing like total public humiliation stand between you and a good time. Pay someone to do it. Boss 2025. What about Banana Splits gangs? Yes or no?
Is that the baseball team? No,
No.
the Banana Splits. So,
Is that something naughty? Just kidding.
Oh no.
uh-oh.
No, it's not that bad, guys. It was an old show where it's 4 characters in mascot suits featuring the original voice of Tigger as one of the many characters.
Nice.
There's a dog, there's a lion, there's a elephant that only speaks in sound effects, and a gorilla. And they were just the Banana Split gang. And I guess Zoobly Zoo too. Those might be something for Barnaby, but those are things of note and of importance that I can quickly summarize in the chat.
Cool. Thank you. So, let's talk a little bit about settings that are super important for you to have. So, some settings that I have set up is I want to be able to I want to have some good sorry. Some settings that I like to have is sometimes I will call my like what that means is basically only hear from a certain area. Why that's useful is when you go into VRChat, you hear pretty much everybody as if they're like right next to you, and sometimes you don't want that. And so sometimes you want to have just a private conversation and just be able to kind of just know that your mic goes out to everybody. So you're not necessarily having a private conversation, but if you just want to hear the people that are around you, that one's good. I think that another one is setting it up so that you can only see your friend's avatar, or set it up so that that you can see a certain number of avatars in an instance. For me, my computer's pretty powerful, but there are times that my computer is screaming at me, and I have to say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna allow this amount of avatars to appear, and that sometimes helps. What do you guys think? What are some settings that you like to have on?
I've played Beat Saber quite a long time before I got into a VRChat, so I actually got over motion sickness pretty quickly. So I went straight in, no comfort turning, but a couple of tools were the OVR toolkit, so you can do place-based mover. So like if you're talking to a short friend, you could be down here or something like that. So basically, it moves your character in the space. You also can do a OVR toolkit, which you can double squeeze and you can see like all your screens on your computer and stuff. You can see like what time it is. So if you're like, oh man, I've been singing for 8 hours straight, I should probably get some sleep. Makes it really easy. So yeah.
So that's some good software. What's some settings in software that you recommend?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest settings you can do in VRChat is setting your home world to something you like. So whenever you sign in, you appear somewhere that you like. Okay. And you can do that by exploring worlds. And then if you open your settings, there's a little star set as home, and you can, I think it's a star. Yeah, you can set it. And then I guess the other one you already kind of broached was permissions, because especially if you're going to public worlds, you want to make sure that you are controlling what people can and can't render on their avatars in front of you, because you could get crashed intentionally if they have avatars that are really loaded full of stuff made to crash you. So there's a little setting in your settings where you can control that for people you're not friends with versus people you are friends with. That allows their avatars to display things like particles and other things that are a little more risky, but you trust them, etc.
When you were motion sick, what were some of the settings like when you're first starting? Which ones
Oh,
did you like?
well, I used holoport locomotion, which is if I move forward, it shows my character run off into the distance and appear somewhere, because the act of moving in VR made me sick. Um, and then there's also snap turning, which makes you, instead of smooth turning like this, you snap angles. That helped. And then there's also a tunnel vision one. I forget the name of it, but it blurs the edges and makes them darker while you're in motion, which helped a lot too.
Um, yeah, I think that there was one other point that I had. It was on the tip of my tongue, and now it's gone. Ah, it's yes. Oh, that was the one that I was actually. You reminded me. Thank you.
You're
If you
welcome.
don't want people to touch your avatar, you can also make it so that they cannot touch your avatar. If you don't want them to be able to pet you and move your little ears around, or if you like as you can see, he can move them all over the place. So if you don't want that to happen, you can actually turn that off so that people can't interact with your avatar. You can actually also make it, if you're uncomfortable with people getting in your face and being too close, you can actually set it up so that avatars will disappear if they get too close to you. So there are some comfort settings that you can do. You can also turn up individual people. You can turn people down if they're being too loud. You can mute them. You can turn on trusted URLs so that you can watch videos with your friends. You can turn them off if you don't want to be able to see that. There's a lot of things in settings, and they expand it every single day. There are some times that I look at the settings menu and I'm like, what is this? This is so like, and so for a new user, that's why I wanted to bring up settings. It is a little bit daunting, but just kind of go slow with looking at the different settings.
Yeah.
And you'll learn
I,
new things and find new things.
I think another thing, really important thing, kind of in the same vein for new people, is understanding how worlds work here in terms of instances. Okay.
Yeah,
So
let's talk
when
about
you
that.
when you log into VRChat, right, and you go to a world, um, chances are it'll be a public version of the world, and you'll see other people. But you
Hmm.
can also create an instance of that world and control who can come in, whether it's invite only, people only you can invite, or friends, all your friends can come in, or friends plus, which means friends and their friends can come in, right? Um, And you do that by viewing the world in your settings. And then in the bottom left, there's new instance, and you can choose. And then you can spawn and drop a portal or what have you.
Hmm. Very nice to have. And they have Group Plus too. So if you're like part of a group in VRChat, you can see very easily like, oh, look, they're at this game, or oh, look, they're singing here or something. So
Gotcha. Well, and then another thing that's super important is your settings, your status. You want to be able to make sure to change your status. If you're like, for example, right now, I think I'm in a yellow status. I could also be in a red status. A red status would be if somebody wants to be wants to have an invite, they won't see. Well, they'll see me online. I wish they had an invisible mode, by the way. I really wanted an invisible mode. That would be so good. But if you're on red, then nobody can send you invites at all. But if you're on yellow, it's ask. So you can get invites, but people can't automatically join. And then there is green, right?
Yep.
And green, they can basically send you. What's the difference between green and yellow? I can't remember.
So, so it goes red, where you don't get any invites. Orange, where it's hide location, see invite request. Green is online, and you can see invite requests, and they can see where you're at. And then blue is the least, where it's auto accept any invite requests, so they can
So
see where you
people
are
can
and they can
just
join you.
go to your friends list and just join you where you're currently at. Well, guess what, guys? We are running out of time. Somebody came up. You didn't see it, but there's this yote that came in here, and he tapped on my shoulder and said, "Rue, we are running low on time." So let's go to final thoughts. We've talked about a lot of things. So, final thoughts about VR itself, some settings that you feel like it's important, hardware, whatever you want to talk about. Let's go to final thoughts.
I think that VRChat, VR is a great tool. It's not more than you need; it's more than you're used to. And I think that it's really what you put into it, and reasons to come back is what's going to bring you back. So it's very much like a lot of people recently have moved from X to Blue Sky, or all these other different types of social media, and it's growing pains. A lot of times it's like there's no reason to go there because you're not following anybody. But the more time you invest in it, the more you'll find a value in it. And like I said, VR should never replace social interactions, but it definitely supplements it.
Hmm. I would say that VR, the biggest thing I think it gives or gave me is being able to express myself in a way I just can't or feel comfortable with in real life. In real life, I'm very much a guy and I like being a guy, but I prance around the internet as a fox girl like this, and that's weird for me to think about doing that in real life, even in a fursuit. But on VR, I can do that, and it's awesome. So my advice would be find something you're passionate about, right? Be that thing, and then go have experiences and worry about the technical stuff later. Yeah, make friends.
Klik, what's your thoughts?
VR's cool. Yay.
VR cool.
Yay! Boss?
It can be a whole world and a lot of fun experiences and a lot of games, and it's super entertaining to go in and play with people and meet new people, and it's definitely a unique thing. I loved being able to get my custom self and then go in and be me, and that was so much weirder because I'm really small and everyone's really tall, and I can't hit buttons or too much, and it takes a while to get used to, but it's also really fun. And for the love of God, don't get a Fox box.
Do not get a fox box.
Hey, them are fighting words, my friend. I will get my knife out and
Oh
I will
my
come
god!
for
Is that
you.
Chucky?
There's a disease going around, and
Stab
everyone's
him.
getting infected.
Stab him.
There's so many facial expressions. Are you scheming? Are you sad? Are you happy? Which one do you want to be?
Boots, come back, Boots. Well, my
Boots dead.
final thoughts
GG.
is, take it slow. Take it slow. Ask a friend. If you know a friend that's in VR, have them help you. There is so many different online tutorials about getting into VRChat. Look at them, see them, watch this thing again, and kind of go through step by step. Take it slow. You don't have to dive in and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. You could download it on your phone today and just try it out and see if it's something that's for you. But as you go deeper in, the more the immersion is, the more that it becomes kind of more, it starts to blur the lines between like real life and pretend type thing. And yeah, I think it's a great social outlet. No, not all of us have the time on a work night to be able to go and hang out with our friends, and it gives kind of an outlet for you to do that. The other important thing is beans. 100%. Brains. But before we close up, I know I said final thoughts. I know. But real quick, there are some negatives to VRChat. And I want to throw that out there, that there are some negatives. There are some things where, there's sometimes that people drink too much potentially on VRChat. There's sometimes
drinking.
that there is drama that happens on VRChat, just like any other social platform. There are sometimes that there are. It's with anything. There are negative aspects to it. Just real quick, any negative aspects that you guys can think of?
No,
It's
you,
made
I don't
it's,
want to come across as sunshine and rainbows.
it's made me want to do social stuff in real life less because I'm way more me and comfortable like this in VR. And I think in some ways that might be a negative, right? I mean, you should want to go out and do all that, but it's a hard to argue with some of the things you can do in VR, and it's like, okay, I could just log in and it's easier. So I think the negative is how easy it is to get into and how you might start leaving other stuff behind as a result. So you have to check that.
you touched on substance abuse. There definitely is that. I mean, you're able to go out and party every night, and a lot of people who only drink or partake of other things when they're with social people, being able to do that every single night is something they have to get used to. So I would say definitely make sure you're with people that if you're having problems with that they can encourage you to be the best you can be, and be vocal with them. A lot of times, if they're good friends, they should be able to help you if you want to abstain from stuff like that. So,
Sometimes for me, time, when I'm in here, I don't know what time it is. I don't know how long I've been here. I don't know, and I need to get your little smartwatch thing. I need to get that software so I can look down at my wrist and be like, what time is it? It's, you lose yourself. And in some way or form, it's kind of like a second life. So,
Oh yeah, I see
On
that
that-
all the time when I'm like, I just got home from work. It's late at night. I'm playing a game, and then I look down and go, "Wow, Rue's still in VR chat. It's like 2 a.m. and it's on a
you should
weekend."
come join me. You should be a friend and come join me and be like, Rue, why aren't you in bed?
I have to go in and smack him a few times.
Smack 'em.
Exactly. Help me out.
we got Rue. Now we'll get you. Yes.
It's all according to plan.
Well, I think we have housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping, you want fresh towels?
Yes, give us some fresh towels, housekeeping.
Oh, well, if you insist, my dear fellow friends. Thank you, everyone, for listening to For What It's Worth. Special thanks to our wonderful guests who have joined us today, Mr. Boots and Reyess.
I'm going to
Thank
interrupt
you.
you, Charlie, for 1 second. You have an opportunity to pimp anything that you want, or if you want people to reach out to you, how do they get in contact with you?
My blue sky, Boots goes Bah, B-A-H. You can see me there.
I'm on
Boots goes
Telegram
bah.
primarily. Reyess126.
Oh, shit. Reyes 126 and Boots goes Rah.
Bah, B-A-H.
Ah.
Yes.
We have
Bah.
a wonderful website for us here at For What It's Worth called forwhatitsworth.com. FurWhatItsWorth.com. Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Facebook, whatever you're on, For What It's Worth. At Telegram channel. Give us a call. We'll put you in the group chat. It's pretty great. There's memes. MephistophEli really runs the place. He's kind of the overseer of that vault. You can email any of us at cast@forwhatitsworth.com or at any of our individual emails. You can find those on the website. You can message Voss, Klik, Chuck, Sam, Rue, the whole dang crew. We also have a SpeakPipe, speakpipe.com/FWIW. And also tell a friend. Tell people about us, especially new kids on the block who may or may not know what's going on in the world. Send your favorite episode. Send a clip it. Do it like they do Distractables. Send us a reason why you like listening in. And our next episode will be all about play, the discourse, perception versus reality, and it'll be a live stream. So we're going to have Owoos and Little Kitten and other nonsense, except it's puppy related. So I guess little puppy, little itty bitty puppy. And that will be the conclusion to our show. This has been Charlie.
Wait, Charlie, any more jokes in there? Any more? Any dad jokes? We need a good one to sign us off.
Do you need one?
Yeah, go
Yes.
for it. Steal the
You
show.
know, a man walks into a bar with a slab of asphalt underneath his arm.
Oh.
He says to the bartender, "I'll take a beer and one for the road."
That's as bad as like
That hurts.
that's as bad as like a pirate walks into a bar and he says, and then the bartender asks the pirate, "Hey, why do you have the steering wheel over your crotch?" And the pirate goes, "Arg, it's driving me nuts."
All right. Go ahead,
All right.
Charlie.
This has been Charlie.
This has been Rue.
This has been Boots.
This is Reyess.
And Klik.
You know, Voss too, I guess.
And this has been